Seated. Good. All right. Good evening. I call the order of the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. It is now 7:01 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Outstanding. Well, we'll begin with public comments. So I see we have a lot of town employees who are all public here. Who would like to start? If you would try to limit your comments to about 3 minutes each so we can get through if everybody's going to talk. No?
We have nothing to say. We're here. I think that we speak for ourselves just by being here.
Okay, fair enough. Any correspondence?
None.
Okay. First up, consideration of approval of the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes. I would accept a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting, May 6, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Have a couple of items to actually add to the agenda. I'll go ahead and do that now. First off, I move that we add we'll add these to the end of the agenda. I move that we add the consideration of a recommendation by the Public Utilities Commission to approve the Water System Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition SCADA upgrade project in an amount not to exceed $1,161,555. Is that a second?
Second.
Just for discussion, we did do this before we referred it, but this is actually the opportunity to approve it. The Board of Finance approved it right before this meeting. So
put it after garage list.
Yeah, put it right after garage list because we'll end up tabling that. Yeah. Okay. With that said, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. I move that we add to the agenda following that item, the consideration setting the date for a special town meeting to consider and take action upon the recommendation by the Public Utilities Commission and approved by the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance to fund an amount not to exceed $1,161,555 to the Water System Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition SCADA upgrade project. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll add to the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's see here. Next up, I move that we add to the agenda the consideration of a Titan Energy's proposal to enhance the current EV charging infrastructure by upgrading existing stations and expanding the network with additional chargers. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of adding to the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
And finally, a motion to add to the agenda consideration of updating the amount of tax refunds from $5,305.53 to $7,356.30 due to overpayment of taxes. An additional refund request was received today, 5/20/2025, in the amount of $2,050.77. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of adding to the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now, if you remember to say those in order. Okay, first selectman report. During the last meeting, we mentioned that the town would be changing over to United, which is why everybody's here today. What I brought today was the plan documents just arrived today. And I'm just really handing in these out to both of you to take a look. We have the Connecticut Partnership Plan, which was around currently. And we have the Choice Plus plan from United. It's not exactly the same plan the schools have. I'd say it's a little bit better. It doesn't have the high deductible part to it. The change represents, the current Connecticut Partnership Plan is going up in price $412,000. When we were looking at self-insurance plans, because of that, we were given a quote from United, as you recall from the last meeting. It reduced the cost to the town employees in the town by $165,000. To give you an example, we have a lot of clerical union here today. If a clerical union member is on a family plan and they pay 23% of the premium share, the new partnership plan would be a $52 increase per paycheck for that individual. By going to the United plan, it's actually a little bit of a deduction, so it's a big win for families. The most important part is it's exactly the same coverage between the two. They've gone through, they've looked at every piece of this, co-pays, everything's the same. And we're still ferreting that out. In fact, I have a call with the United CEO, I think next week. Is that right, Darren? The next week?
I believe it is
Yeah.
next week.
To go through this and, and if there's any issues or questions, we can ask them. So right now it looks good. The other part of the plan that I think is better long-term, it has a lower deductible for, out-of-pocket expenses, rather, lower out-of-pocket for pharmaceutical and medical, because what the new plan combines them together. In the old plan, you could, if you had a prescription, issue, you had to take a lot of prescriptions. It could be $9,600 for a family. The new plan has it all combined in one, out-of-pocket maximum for the year. It's $2,000, $4,000. So it's less than what we have. The other piece, if somebody's not HEP compliant, our current plan has HEP. And what it is you have to stay compliant. Otherwise, they charge you an additional $100 per month. This United plan goes with more of the carrot approach than the stick. Instead of that, like if you're on HEP and not compliant, you immediately save $1,200 a year. With this plan, it allows you to do things like you're taking a walk every day. You can actually earn money back. You can earn money up to $1,000 a year towards your healthcare plan. So much better in that way. The rollout has been fast. Obviously, that's why we have folks here tonight. We discovered this when we're looking at self-insurance plans. When it came to us that this was an opportunity to have what we think the same healthcare, in some cases better healthcare, it made sense because it's a $540,000 or so swing between the two of them. So when you talk about $500,000, I can assure you that the healthcare was number one on what we're choosing to make sure it's a good plan, and number two is the cost. It'll put us in a great position long term because if we have the same kind of claims history we had, right now we're leaving millions on the table. With Anthem, the last couple of years we left millions, paid millions extra, but we didn't benefit because we were part of the Connecticut partnership, and it was a pretty severe increase. With United, we'll see how it goes. Next year we could read that another plan if we like, or hopefully be going to self-insurance, and then we can get any kind of carrier we want. So that is kind of the nuts and bolts of it. If you have any questions where we stand.
So this is a point of service plan?
Yes.
All right. So all the co-pays look like they're the same, right?
Yeah, they are. And what we're doing too is if there's any differences, like Brad found something literally today, with hospitalization, there's a $250 emergency room copay. And if you get admitted on our current plan, that's get waived. It didn't specifically say that on the Choice Plus, but it is waived. It's the same thing. And as I've said, I've been on the plan personally, Choice Plus, for about 10 years. The schools have been on it. They're telling me they've not had denial issues in any way. I will say that 15 years ago or so, the plan United was rough. People were complaining a lot. It was harder for coders. It was harder for physicians, but they cleaned up their act.
But we just switched to United. They've been pretty good. I actually ended up saving money on a lot of my prescriptions are free now that I was paying for. But I mean, I'm assuming the unions all have contracts which basically say you're going to get the same or better benefits.
It's exactly what they say.
So,
Yeah.
I think you're very protected. I have a little bit of experience with this. I was in a union for 27 years and I worked in municipality. So, according to contract, your contract's going to supersede. So you really don't have to worry about your benefits. They're going to be the same or better. That's contract.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest concerns right now is access to the same doctors. And that we still have yet to figure out. I mean, we're in a good area where United is well received here. It's one of the largest health insurers in the country. We are still waiting for a disruption report from Anthem, a couple more days, and it'll give us more inclination by percentage of what the overlap of physicians are between the two plans. But my understanding is it's pretty significantly high overlap because of the area.
So they're going to meet the same for decisions,
We're hoping, there's really no way to tell. Yeah,
but that hasn't been decided yet, or you haven't got.
we don't have the
confirmation.
we don't have the disruption report, they call it. So that takes some time, but it's likely to be very similar. Most of the folks in here do around this area, New take United. I would also say the out-of-network coverage is pretty robust, especially preventive care, which aligns with what I think. We shouldn't be charging for preventive care. People should be able going to the doctor regularly. So that's where we stand. And, it's been I mean, obviously with the turnout here today, it's been kind of hard because if we had a long time to prepare for this, it would have been a different rollout. People would have understood a long time ago. We just got the plan documents today. When the decision was made, we were looking towards the idea of self-insurance, which long-term is a very good idea for the town. But to do it right away, we just don't have enough time. And we were given this quote. And it's a good plan. So that's why we're running with it. And we're trying to get the information out to everybody as fast as possible. So that's my report. That's the only thing I wanted to talk about tonight was healthcare. Just to update you guys. So if there's any questions, and the plan document just went out today to everybody.
Yeah.
I was in meetings all day, but both plan documents went out, and I've asked people to compare them, look at them, get back to us. We still have time to talk to the insurance company if there's something falling through, so.
Also, my experience is if one of your doctors isn't on the plan, because that happened to me when we had a switch, I spoke to the doctor and he actually became a participating member with the insurance that we switched to. A lot of times if you talk to them, it's just something they hadn't thought about or something they didn't do, but might not be in every case, but a lot of times they will do that.
Right. All right, that's the report. Old business. First item, actually, I move that we table a license agreement for H&E Wooster Street for use of town property for non-permanent structure. You want a second on that?
A second.
Okay, we'll discuss it. So, subsequent to our meeting, I went over to pull the building permits. And the land use permit.
I saw it.
So I had an opportunity to talk with the person. I explained, I said, listen, if this had been just a license for a shed and we were doing something just neighborly, that's one thing. But when this kind of blew up, when we found that he had permits in place asking for it on the same spot, he went through the whole thing. Basically the planning and zoning official gave him permission a few years ago to cut down the trees and take down the fence. And he took that as kind of like a handshake deal to start expanding. Thought it was no big deal putting this stuff there. I explained to him that this board does not have the authority, I don't believe, to override a zoning permit or anything like that. And if he wants to talk to zoning and planning about it, but right now he's got a lot of zoning enforcement issues because he's got the shed in the wrong place. He kept a second shed on the property. He put his fence along the road entrance there, which is our property. So nice enough guy, but I just don't think there's anything we can do for him.
I agree. Seeing the paperwork and what the comments on the paperwork. Plus it goes back to September of last year.
Yeah.
So it's.
So they never signed off on the final approval.
No, you never got a CO on the.
No, he doesn't have any CO on it.
No, he doesn't have a CO on the shed.
And the way this started happening, I mean, the first thing was they took down the trees. And everybody's walking out for like, what the heck? Like how the trees disappeared. And we found out that he was given verbal permission by planning and zoning to take down the trees and the fence. And then one day we look out and he's putting gravel down on the town property side. Everybody goes out and says, hey, you can't do that. Putting gravel out there. We didn't know what it's for. And then somewhere in here, they went and they got the permit for land use and then building permit for the shed, a larger shed on the same piece of property. Or say where the
same
spot with,
spot with
and for one shed.
Yeah.
Which by the way, they kept the other shed. He came to me in I don't say it was in November. Came to me in November, asking about purchasing the property. And no, we're not going to sell the property like that. Came back in December. We were talking about possibly of a license, like maybe we could do something, which is when we enlisted Melanie's help. By February, he put it in before, he had anything. I think it's when he ordered it. Maybe. So anyway, it's a clean kill. I mean, he really went far and beyond, and he can't do it to help him. That's my take on it. I don't think there's anything to vote on except table this. And, if he wants to talk to planning and zoning and work with zoning enforcement, because it's a zoning enforcement action now.
I happened to be in town hall last week and Beth come back and was in the office.
Mhm.
And I did speak to her. And yes, she had talked to the guy came to her and spoke about the trees and the fence and stuff. And also she had contacted Dibble and Park about fence and the trees and stuff.
So fence,
She wasn't the only one
so Park and Rec knew about,
about the trees coming down and the old fence coming down.
okay,
So
Okay.
I hadn't heard notes.
all right, with that, with no further discussion, the motion on the floor is to table. That'll try your minds, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's tabled. Next up, consideration of a two-way radio for the Sterling Chiefs car. We have two quotes. There's somewhere around, there's another quote floating around, but we have the third
I
one.
got, no, there's only two that I was.
Okay. I was told there was another one coming, so maybe not, but we have one from JS Radio Sales. We have one from Motorola Solutions.
Yeah.
Now the issue at hand too, and I just kind of want to make sure this was clear because the Board of Fire Commission approved a radio for the Chiefs vehicle. It has quit functioning. Along the way, we ended up with a quote for two radios, which I went back to the chief and the chair of the Board of Fire and said, no, you guys will approve one. The second radio was basically the mutual aid radio, which I guess still has some challenges. And utility communication says it's on the way out. But given the fact that only one was approved, I said, get close for one, because that's what the Board of Fire approved, and that is what we actually need at the moment. The other two quotes are significantly different. And JS Radio Sales, heck of a lot better quote compared to the other one. And we have Matt here. Matt, you're assistant chief. They used to be an engineer on one of the
I was the chief engineer.
chief engineer. Okay. Any light you want to shed on this for JS Radio Sales? It seems like the quote that we would go after.
I think we were getting leading towards the Kenwood, which the cheaper quote is the Kenwood radio.
Okay.
We just,
Why didn't both places did it come? If you wanted to.
because the other one is from Norcom, and they will not deal with Kenwood. What I'm hearing.
Is there anyone else who deals with, like, does utility communications sell Kenwood, money of the other one sell Kenwood, that you could have gotten a terrible price with?
Can ask if they do.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, to me, it's not really, it'd be like me quoting a Cadillac
yeah,
versus a Chevy and saying, well, the Chevy.
It should be still a state bid.
Yeah.
Either one. So no matter where you buy it from, it should be from the state bid list. It's just that one's a Motorola radio, the other one's a Kenwood. There's only two differences.
Except the price.
But with the price, yeah,
Overall, it's double.
yeah.
Sure, that wasn't the two.
No, I looked. Believe me, I got the other one. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. I also understand the chief is using a handheld right now.
Yes, yeah.
You said this is stick bid.
It should be. I mean, both of them should be. I mean, that's where they should be generated from is the state bid. I can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that that's where they are.
Well, again, I don't want to be a stick in the mud, but I keep saying this about quotes. Quotes, like, should be on the state bid, or it is on the state bid. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's
Well,
kind of,
I mean,
that's kind of an important.
I can ask you.
You
That's
know?
why I just want to make sure. I think he has some questions up for us. Report back.
I mean, if he doesn't have a radio, obviously it's important for a fire chief to have a radio in his car. We don't want him driving around with a portable,
Right.
not being able to get in touch with his people.
Yeah.
I guess all I'm asking, kind of like I had mentioned to Chief McAllister, that I would just like these bids ready when we come to talk to him. Like, I mean, if you guys had come and said, look, we bid two Kenwood radios, they're both the same price, they're both on the same bid. One guy's charging us 120 for labor, the other guy's 100. It's like, okay, who do you deal with? Let's just do it. But all I'm looking for is, like, when you're asking for these items, just be kind of like the shovel-ready concept, right? Like, just have all the questions answered when you come to the board, because it makes, our job a lot easier. And that way, we're not waiting another 2 weeks, and then before you know it, we forget about it. And then, you're a few months down the road and, like, we still don't have our equipment. So that's all I'm asking, is, if you bring that back to the chief, just that, let's just have these quotes done, state bid if that's what you're going with, so we can compare.
So, it's interesting to do that. So, I think what we should do going forward is maybe a little bit of a policy on quotes.
I would agree.
And we're gonna put it out there and say, we always quote the same items. So if you're gonna quote Kenwood or Motorola and Motorola, maybe both, right?
Well, usually who we deal with now is,
Yeah.
would be, Norcom, but they wouldn't even give us a quote for.
Did utility have because he said utility. Was the one that recommended the other.
Utility, I don't know.
Utility communication.
Yeah,
Yeah, utility is here too, and they were the ones that made the recommendation on the other one, so.
What frequency currently use?
they're Motorola, but they were, the ones that was put into the chief's vehicle was the one that was from the initial, upgrade from low band to,
Is the switch from Motorola to Kenwood a cost savings effort on your guys, or is Kenwood a better product?
well, I just think that, from what other experiences in the past, I think that they knew that Kenwood gives out I know at one point I think Kenwood was giving out more wattage off the portable than the Motorola. Which I don't have to compare what they're offering. I don't have both to compare and tell you which ones are giving off what. We just at least want to get two quotes and.
Is it
we're not trying
digital?
to-
Is this digital, you know?
Yes, yeah, we have to make sure it was, so I asked them yesterday, I go, can we make sure that this is also gonna be compatible of any upgrades in the future?
Yeah, all right.
And that's what I was told yesterday, yes, it would be.
I appreciate Kenwood because it's a less expensive product and it's good. That's what I know. Any other things that we would want to know regarding quotes? Right now, I have same items, so we have comparing, state bid on both, like all the both.
I'll make sure what it is state bid, and then I can, find out from utility if they are offering Kenwood or just even get a quote for Motorola from them as well.
Who does all your radio work now, utility?
Detail, no, yeah, it is Norcom,
Norcom.
yeah.
We could proceed with this, do up to include this, and if they find we're relying on them to look one more time.
Well, if you put
Find out Kenwood.
the number out there now, the other guy can.
Well, if it's a state bid, I mean, what's he
Then
gonna
it
do?
should be much different.
State bid, it's a state
do
bid.
the same.
Yeah.
That's what it should be, at least it should be generated from.
You know, the only difference could be, and I don't know if it's a state bids, maybe you guys know, does that cover labor too, state bids, or is it just purchases?
That's a good question.
Good question. I honestly, I don't know. I was used to purchasing things. I just, labor, I never really thought about.
Assume that it would be associated.
Yeah.
Purchase the same, so that's later associated, so.
Yeah.
As part of the purchase, it should be.
I'm fine with moving forward with this, given the time needed, and I don't think you're gonna get much less. With the number, I just feel.
I'm gonna say it again, this is the last time. I
Well,
am, because
They
honestly,
did bring you
it's like, it's like,
two books.
I know, but they were all in the meeting when I said, these quotes have to be
Yeah.
ready and all the answers have to be, and I'm not picking on you.
No,
Okay?
I'm not.
You know what I mean?
I just,
But
you guys are coming from.
I'm not picking on you. I
Yeah.
just have such a hard time, like, it's like just,
Yeah.
same thing. It would have been so easy to say, hey.
Yeah.
State bid, same radio, same radio.
It-
We like using these people. It's the same price, then great.
It might be really great to get another quote on a Kenwood because the next hurdle is much harder than this one.
Yeah, I'll see if we get
Yeah.
Well, that's how you-
Don't ring your celebration bells yet, just, we're passing it on.
All right.
Yeah, we'll find out what deals with Kenwood, just.
Yeah.
And
Should be
I'll,
easy.
Also have to get another quote, I'll see if we can get a quote from utility also.
Yeah, you totally should.
All right. So then I'll make a motion that we approve 3,000, excuse me, I make a motion we recommend $3,555.02 to the Board of Finance for replacement of the chief's radio to come from capital non-recurring.
Second.
I'll let Rich like stuff.
Okay.
Department stuff.
All right, got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. There we go. All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you're not out of the woods yet. All right. So, consideration drinking issues. After having a conversation with public utilities, I dropped off a draft of a couple of items there for the drainage plan. There should be one piece of paper in your cup. You get it up there, Mary?
Jay,
I think J1, yeah.
day one.
Awesome.
Sure.
I want to see my J one here. I might have it. There we go. This is J one?
It's after B1, believe it or not.
B2,
Yeah. I'm
That's
sorry
why I
for
don't
that.
see it.
after B2. J1, I got it. It's after
Okay.
B2.
That's a B two. Oh,
It's right after
well,
B2.
it doesn't really matter. I kind of know it's.
There, you do know
So,
C comes after B, right?
Agenda's already done.
So it was done. So what you're looking at is, really, we've gone through, we've had a number of drainage issues around the town, exacerbated by the August 18th storm. And a couple of those have risen to the top of priority items, and those are what you're looking at now. For other items as well, I'm just kind of like calling your attention to a couple of things. What we've done, I should say what we've done, what the Public Works Director and his team have done has gone through each one of these, kind of rank ordered with public impact, what private impact there are, like numbers of homes, what the flooding is like. And we're looking at a study cost, and what would it cost to study to get something done to fix it? Now, we did have some of these items kind of set aside that we get approval for from FEMA through grant grants. Those grants are gone, as you've watched the news. Two of these items have kind of risen to the top. I just want to give you examples. One of them is the Colonial Drive Basin area, we're calling it. Colonial Drive used to be a street. And when they rebuilt it, they diverted everything around the back of the homes that they built. But it's basically in a valley. And downstream, down Walnut Hill is where it really backs up. The actual infrastructure is not big enough to handle the kind of storms we have right now. We know that much of it, but it's going to cost a study to go look at it, figure out how to replace it someday. But it basically floods that whole area. The other one we have is the downtown culvert, we call it. It affects a lot of these. It's that culvert that goes into the front of town hall, goes all the way up towards that point. There's pieces and parts of that need to be looked at and replaced because of the flooding, and there are many others. The reason I'm covering it up, I just wanted you to kind of be aware those are the top two. But what I'm going to recommend is that we do a special meeting. We do like a working meeting, kind of like P&Z does it. And that way we're all together with the folks from Public Works. We can go through all of them. We can look at them together so you understand, we can rank order them, and then we can come up with a plan together of what we want to do. Because it is going to take funding over time. Like the one for Colonial Drive, we're talking about 20 grand to do the studies. There's an estimate for the culvert, which I think is high, it's 50 grand. I'm sorry, 60 grand. Bennett Park needs to be repaired. Not only do we have to repair the bridge that's washing out, we have to repair the spillway, we have to dredge it, and there's a talk about dredging behind where the bridge is, so we keep the silt coming through or keeping it away. That's a $50,000 job, from what I've heard. So these are all priorities that we have, and I think we need to just sit down and actually prioritize them over time. And one on here like Saxon, before Saxon Woods, nothing we can do. At this point, we were hoping FEMA could buy homes. They were qualified. Yeah. So if it's okay, I'll have Mary set up a special meeting. It'll be a working meeting with Eric and John, Matts, and whoever else we have from Public Works. Does that work for you, gentlemen? Yeah. Okay.
It's fine with me.
All right. So, but that was no vote to make. That was just the agenda items.
Well, Dan, it's Eric.
Oh, Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, I would, if it's
You were gone.
okay.
I just didn't see you up there, pal.
If it's okay with the board, if you are willing to vote on the Colonial Drive study cost to recommend to the Board of Finance, I think you could do that tonight.
See all the projects.
You want to see them all? Okay. I think we're going to wait on that, Eric, but thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, it is a priority and it's unfortunate, but we'll have
That's
in the
fair
next
enough.
couple weeks,
Yeah.
we'll have a meeting and then we'll be ready for the next meeting, I think. Do due diligence. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Next up, yeah, so let me make sure I have this right with what we did with so we have basically, we'll table this one, we'll move to the next one. So what we're going to do, the consideration approval of tax refunds. We'll table that. And then we'll go to the garage lifts, which we're also going to table because I was talking to Eric. Eric, we believe this was actually approved already on the capital plan for capital on recurring.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just saw this on the agenda like 15 minutes before this meeting started, and I didn't have access to my files, so I asked Dan to just table it. I
So we were
want to
talking,
I just want to confirm before, yeah.
this may have actually been approved a long time ago for the garage list. We just wanted to check. So it does seem we do need to get it at some point.
Could be out, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been allocated. So we just wanted to double check it. So, I move that we table consideration of the approval of garage list. Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye, motion carries. Okay, next up, consideration of New Vance Northwell contract for renewal permanent services.
Was that the end of the check?
You know, we probably should. Yeah, because the executive session. I really don't know. Yeah, we get like your executive session. That's fine. So I move that we table the consideration of New Vance Northwell contract renewal for paramedic services. Oh, I don't have to, I can just bring it up anytime we want. We can bring it off the table.
Okay.
So lay it on the table. Have a second, please.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Okay. So we're allowed to get to that whenever we want.
Yeah.
As long as we do it by the next meeting that ends support. Spirits. Okay. Melanie, so next up on the agenda is the consideration of the project approval of the SCADA system. I have the suggested motion. Did you want to add anything about?
Not recommending that covers it. My understanding is the Board of Finance that prior to this meeting
Oh.
and approved the project and the price not to exceed.
Right.
So that means that we had both, two commission approval, Board of Finance approval, and
So when we recommended it to the Board of Finance, was that not an approval?
I read the minutes and the motion, it didn't appear to be.
So if we're recommending it to them, isn't that an approval? Or do we have to read it and say we approve?
We just said it would be worse, what we have to say.
We, let's make sure we understand this. We never, ever do that. Tonight, we recommended to the Board of Finance for approval of, things that CMR. We do it the same way every time. If we have a defect in the way of making motions, I'll start doing this now, but.
I should say that it's something first.
And then recommends
recommends
it.
it to Board of Finance,
Okay.
recommends it to Board of Finance.
Okay.
We have that.
I'm all about lawyer stuff. So this way we've already referred it, which is fine because we can do that in parallel. So I move that we approve the water system supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA upgrade project in an amount not to exceed $1,161,555. Said sum includes a construction cost of $728,990, professional services of $376,115 let me restate that. Professional services of $376,115, bonding and legal fees of $20,000, and a total project contingency of 5% in the amount of $36,450. Said funding shall come from bond anticipatory notes, loans, temporary borrowing, and or other appropriation as recommended by the comptroller to be reduced by any available grants obtained by the town of Bethel and or the Bethel Public Utilities Commission, if any. Payment for the appropriate sums shall be made by the water account users of the Bethel Public Utilities Commission. Do I have a second? Any further discussion? Because we've been down this road a couple times. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Okay. Melanie, by what we're saying, we would have to also, we'll set a town meeting, but do we have to recommend this to the town meeting separately? We set a town meeting, do I have to recommend it to the town meeting?
We have to have a motion to set the time and date and to yes.
Yeah.
Are you asking you
And then we
if
buy it?
that
Yeah.
motion is
Oh,
necessary?
Okay, so I guess it's because we're saying by approval, that's fine. Okay, so we hold a special town meeting on May 29th, 2025, to consider and take action upon recommendation by the Public Utilities Commission and approved by the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance to fund an amount not to exceed $1,161,555 for the water system supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA upgrade project. Said meeting to be held in the Clifford J. Hurgen Municipal Center on School Street, Bethel, in meeting room A at 7 p.m. The special town meeting will also set the date and time for a town-wide machine vote pursuant to the charter and statute. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Bless you. Motion carries. Note that I believe the tentative date is June 12th, but we'll have to get that. Tell me what this. All right,
Thank you.
let's see. Next up, consideration of Titan Energy's proposal to enhance for EV charging infrastructure. I'm not sure, but I believe we actually covered this once already. I don't remember if we actually finished the vote on it, but it was worth bringing up again. Because now we're kind of to the point where we can actually have installation of the project. So I think we should vote on it and we should send it to the board of finance. I don't, Nick, you're here. Do you remember getting a projected out of pocket cost list was $9,000.
What is it? I'm sorry.
So basically what we're doing is, we have a proposal to upgrade EV charging stations around town. We have the Bethel High School, the municipal parking, old train station, railroad station, and town library. Looking at all the permitting, all the stuff, we actually get, money back from Eversource for this. We're getting credit from Eversource. We're also getting some credit back from, our local company, QNOM, which makes chargers. So they have a deal now with Eversource so they can do this. So this is part of their local thing to help us out. The out-of-pocket cost is projected to be $9,200, $9,253. I would say that we approve 15,000 or something, and not to exceed. But we're at the point where we can move forward. I know I brought this before the commission, the long time ago, the board of selectmen. I don't remember if we actually voted on it or not, but I just felt really pertinent now that we're, after all these months later, these things take forever. I can come back and get a final approval from the board.
So these are all
Yeah.
in place now, or we're adding?
So,
ones? There's nothing at the high school now, right?
No, there's nothing at high school. We go through it. There's nothing in high school, nothing in the municipal center. We're replacing the ones at the old train station, the new train station, and part of one at the library. The ones we have now are charge point. The maintenance agreement is pretty much all in line, and they're out, so, out of service more than they're in service lately. So part of this gives us the opportunity to replace those. If we were to go replace those from out of our pocket, it would be significant. Now remember back in, I want to say those were put in maybe 2017-ish. Yeah, that sounds about right. But for a few years, well, the way those were put in, they were being paid for by a grant. But with that grant, we had to give away free electricity for a period of time. We talked about this. When I came in, they were already giving away free electricity over a couple of years later. So we started charging to break even, which has been somewhat successful. With these, we can charge, right? There's no deal there that says we have to. Like, we want to break even. We want to put the money in an account to take care of the chargers. That's the goal. So after all, I mean, we're going to get that $9,000 back eventually. I'm not worried.
I would be in favor of it as long as it's a user fee.
It's a user fee. It's not free.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're done paying everybody's bills here.
Yeah.
There's so much other demand on other things, and we're gonna
Yeah.
spend 10,000 on something like this. If it's needed,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, as long as it's not costing the taxpayers.
No, it's needed. We'll get that money back through long term. It's wanted in town. I mean, I'm looking at this, we're doing something that kind of, there's enough people who want it and want to use it, who have Teslas and all that now. I think there's still demand. And I'll be frank and public. I mean, I do think electric vehicle chargers like this is going to be like the BlackBerry. I say it's going to go away. We're going to have iPhone someday. It's going to be hydrogen battery combo with something. It'll be different, but right now there's a need and a desire. So,
I would support it upfront cost if the users are gonna pay for it.
yeah, there's no question. That's what's going to happen. It's not, we wanted to cover the cost of whatever we're doing. It'll be self-sufficient.
I mean, at the $9,000 cost versus what, it costs out of pocket for.
Yeah.
And that's electrician,
That's all the stuff.
that's all electrician and everything.
Right now, there's still a lot of, there's a lot of stuff going on, federal grants and state grants through Eversource. I mean, listen, part of this is probably part of the infrastructure EV charging thing that they put on the public generation charge, the public benefits charge. So we were lucky that Titan Energy took this project, ran with it. I'll give a shout out to Sustainable Bethel, because I let them do a lot of the legwork. because I didn't have time to worry about it. But Catherine Ebert especially really spearheaded this, and economic development, they all worked on to get it through. So with that, I mean, if you guys are somewhat in agreement, I'll make a motion. I do think we should. I mean, I do think we should make it 15,000 just to make sure we're like, if it's a little more or less.
If
I don't come back to the board.
If I could speak,
Not to
I
exceed.
hate giving extra money.
No, I don't want
Because
to.
They always spend
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's just projected, and it's pretty close. I mean, but the whole project,
It's 9,000, but you want to give them 15?
yeah, the whole project is $129,000. The projected amount based on grants and all that, and all the numbers have been consistent that I've seen come in. That should be pretty close.
So why don't you give them 10% contingency?
Okay.
You know, I mean,
Maybe
15
10,000?
grand is a lot.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm already coming back. Listen, if it's a problem, we'll come back.
I'd have a special meeting tomorrow.
Sure.
If it needed it.
So let's make 10,000 even. By the way, I should not talk to the board of finance. We're colluding here, but anyway,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Projected. Like what happens if the projections are wrong, we're on the hook?
yeah, we could be, but not significantly.
120.
No. No, because by the way, if this isn't gonna happen, if we don't have a number, I'll pre-approve, we're not doing the project.
So you'll.
I have the ability to say no.
Put that in your motion.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
kind of like the vote, you know.
Projections yeah, the projections are wrong, we'll shut down the project. Okay. All right, so with that, I move that we approve not to exceed $10,000 for the installation, consistent with the Titan Energy proposal for electric vehicle charging stations, at various municipal locations. And that we will pull the plug on the project if we find out that it's going to be significantly higher. Okay.
Do you want to, is that to be forwarded to the Board of Finance?
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, to be reported before, recommend the board of finance. Thank you very much, from Captain Mumford. Yeah, we approve.
We approve it.
And we recommend to the board of finance. Approve and recommend.
Hey, thanks, Melanie. The meetings weren't long enough.
Approve and recommend. We're gonna get this right.
Because
You're on the side. Thanks, Melanie. We're gonna full.
I know. Or yeah, sorry. Okay, approve, and recommend. We have motion on the table. We have seconds already?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Last one, I think you're on the hip parade. I move that we approve the amount of $7,356.30 to the overpayment of taxes. I should say the refunds to the overpayment of taxes. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, let's make sure we got everything. Okay, the only thing on the end here. So with that, next is consideration of the Advanced Northwell contract for North Paramedic Services. We have an executive session, so I move that we go into executive session. We invite Nick Ellis from the Board of Finance. We invite Melanie O'Brien, the town attorney. We invite Matt.
Sit back down, man.
Yeah, Matt. Last name. And Mary Churchill into the executive session. Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We now send the executive session, 7:44 PM. You can stop the recording, Mary, and yes, go blank.
We got it.
I call the regular meeting of the board second back to order after the executive session. It's 8:05 PM. I'd like to make a motion that we allow Danny McCarter, first selectman of the town of Bethel, to negotiate and approve the extension agreement for the Western Connecticut Health Network affiliates, which is the old contract name, which is now New Vance or Northwell Healthcare extension agreement to our ALS contract.
Sorry.
And did you have any nice something there?
So you are, as a board approving.
Yeah.
Entering into the contract, and then secondly authorizing David Lee Carter
Okay.
as his first selectman to execute the extension modification agreement.
Okay, so it's a board, the motion is to approve the extension of the contract by 2 years. We'll try to get 3. And approve the Emily Carter's first selectman of town of Bethel to negotiate and sign the contract for the extension agreement of the contract. Does that work? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Start now for Dr. Mike.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we stand adjourned at 8:06.
9:00.
All right,
Okay.
Ryan, mark your calendar,
What?
special meeting.